come on. Just sit calmly on my lap like you were a minute ago, please. Thank you. Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be going through the 23 books that I want to read in 2023. And yes, I am wearing the same clothes as my last video because I did film them both at the same time. So that is why. I have a reading journal which I track all the books that I've read and that kind of thing. So I've started my 2023 pages and I'm really pleased with this page that I made. So I'm gonna, all the books that I've read, I'm gonna write in these little books on the bookshelf. So I thought it was a really cute idea. Anyway, I also did a page for the 23 books that I want to read in 2023. So I've got this book in front of me, so I'm just going to go through it in order. So basically I just picked out 23 books on my TBR which I would like to get to in 2023. They're in no particular order. Some of the books I don't have in physical form, some of them are on my Kindle, so I'll try and pop a little picture up here so that you can see what the covers are like. So let's get to it. The first book on this list is Every Summer After by Carley, which is a book that I just got for Christmas, and I'm going to save this for summer. In summer I just want to get to all my summary reads and just get through them because I like just sitting on the beach or sitting in the sun and just reading a summary book. I think that's really cute. So this is basically a friends to lovers / second chance romance book, and I've heard really good things about this. It is apparently really similar to Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, which I haven't read, so I won't be able to tell you if it's similar or not, but apparently they're basically the same book but just with a slightly different plot twist at the end. I will enjoy that one. The next book is Some Kind of Perfects by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is the final book in the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series, and at the moment I'm currently reading Hot House Flower, which is the 5th book in the series. Basically it's a bit confusing, but they're 2 separate series with 5 books in each series, the Addicted series and the Calloway Sisters series, and you kind of read them entwined. So all in all it's a 10-book series if you count it all as one series, which I kind of am. So that's the final book, and I'm currently reading the 5th book. So I've put the last book on my to read list so that I have to get through the whole series this year because I want to get this series done. Not to get it out of the way because I'm absolutely loving the series and I don't want it to end, even though I'm only halfway through, so I have got a lot left. But yeah, so I've put the final book, which is the big epilogue novel, on my TBR, and I've been reading these books on my Kindle just because in the UK those books are really expensive to buy and they're a lot cheaper to buy on Kindle, so I've been reading them on my Kindle. The next book on the list is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is another book that I don't have, but I will be buying it this year, or I'll ask for it for my birthday. And I'm really excited to get to this trilogy. I've heard really good things about it. It's kind of a mystery. It's got a little bit of romance in there, a love triangle, but I really like kind of books that are kind of mystery and you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. I'm just really excited to read that, so I've put that on my TBR for this year. Girl in Pieces by Kathleen, Glasgow. This isn't a book I've heard too many people talk about, but I've had this on my shelves for a little while now. I bought it from Tesco's once and they're like 2 for £7 deal, and it had some good reviews on Goodreads and that, so I am excited to get to it, but I think it's quite a heavy book, like more about mental health and stuff, so I'll have to be in the right mindset to read it, I think. But I do want to get to it this year, so it's another one to tick off my list. I also want to read The Push by, I can't remember who it's by, Audrain. Yeah, I've heard really good things about this book. There's a podcast that I listen to called Talk Bookish to Me, I think. They've spoken about this book on there quite a bit and it just sounded really good, and it's kind of like a, I don't know if it's a psychological thriller or something like that. It's kind of, I don't think it fits into one genre. So that's another one I'm excited to read. I do have it on my Kindle. I bought it when it was on one of the 99p deals, so I will get to that at some point as well. I'd also like to get to Project Hail Mary by Weir, which is one I recently just bought off Amazon, and I'm really excited to read this. It's basically about an astronaut who wakes up in space. He's part of a mission, but he doesn't know that. He's just been asleep for a long time and he wakes up in space, and it's basically about him trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And it just sounds really good. I don't normally read sci-fi, but I love anything space related. I'm really interested in space in general, so I wanted to give this a go and branch out and try something new. So I hopefully will get to that soon, so I'm excited to read that one. The next book is You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. I have read One of Us is Lying and One of Us is Next by her, and I really enjoyed those. So this is another kind of YA murder mystery kind of book. I'm really excited to get to that one as well, and I like the purple sprayed edges. So that's just another book I'm excited to get to. Another book is One Perfect Summer by Paige Toon, which is one that I got from a secondhand bookshop up the road from me. And this is a really good summery romance book. It's a little bit tatty where I just got it from a secondhand bookshop. I think I ended up getting this for literally like 50p, so bargain. Yeah, I just thought I can add that to my TBR, and it's another summery book to read over summer. And all of Paige Toon's books I think have the audiobook on Scribd, which is like an audiobook subscription service, and I thought I can sign up for that for a little while to get through some of Paige Toon's books, because I'm absolutely obsessed at the moment with listening to the audiobook and reading along physically at the same time. I feel like it really grabs my attention more. And if I'm struggling to concentrate because I've got a lot on my mind or something, I just put the audiobook on and read along, and that really, really helps me. So if you are struggling to get into a book, or you're struggling to concentrate or anything like that, I definitely recommend listening to the audiobook at the same time. Another book which is on my Kindle, which I'm gonna hopefully get to soon, is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. That's what it's called. And that is by, I can't actually read who that's by, but I will list all these books in the description below so that you can see who it's by, just because I'm trying to read off this tiny little printout and I can't quite see who the author was, and I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, that's another one I've got on my Kindle, and I've also got the sequel on my Kindle as well, so yeah, need to get to those. Another book I want to get to, which I actually have already read, this was the second book that I've read this year, which is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love this. Yeah, I had heard mixed reviews about this, so I was a little bit scared to go into it because I absolutely loved the first book, but I really enjoyed it. Loads of people were disappointed because they said there wasn't much plot, but I thought there was. I thought it was really good. I also want to read Hopeless by Colleen Hoover, which I have read before on my Kindle a few years ago, but I don't really remember it at all. It's not one of her most talked about books, but I remember really enjoying it when I did read it before, but I honestly cannot remember what it was about. So that's just another one that I'd like to get to. I'd like to kind of read all of my Colleen Hoover books that I've got on my shelf this year. I also would like to read Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, which I have also read on my Kindle years ago, and I can't really remember it, although all I remember is that it was about a deaf guy that falls in love with a girl, and I'm pretty sure there's some cheating in this book, which is why a lot of people don't like it. Like, the girl cheats on her boyfriend with the deaf guy, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. I can't really remember. I also want to read Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, which is also about by some other authors as well, but it's part of the Shadowhunter books, which, yeah. So I've read all of the City of Bones series, I've read the Infernal Devices series, I've read all of the what's it called, the Dark Artifices series, except the last one, and I've read like some of the other companion novels and stuff, and this is basically just a bind up of short stories to do with the Shadow Market, and apparently this has quite a lot of stuff to do with Jem in it, and I love him as a character. That might even be him on the cover, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's another book I want to get to, but it's another chunker. Quite a lot of Cassandra Clare's books are really huge, but this is the kind of book that you can kind of read a couple of the stories and then maybe pause, go to something else, come back to it. That's what I quite like doing with books like this. But yeah, so I want to get to that this year. And talking of Cassandra Clare, I also want to read the third book in the Dark Artifices series, which is Queen of Air and Darkness, and this book just intimidates me because look at the size of it. This is absolutely huge, and it's 870 pages, so it's quite a big one, and yeah, it's just intimidating. And the second book in this series, The Lord of Shadows, did take me a long time to get through, and I think the reason why her books sometimes take me a while to get through is because her chapters are really, really long. The chapters can be like 20-30 pages long, and I don't like that. I prefer chapters that are under 10 pages long, just so I feel like I get through a book quicker. I don't know, it unmotivates me when a book has really long chapters, and that's why I've kind of been putting off reading this a little bit. So yeah, I want to get to that because I know I'm going to fully enjoy it. I love all of Cassandra Clare's books, so I know I'm going to love it, but I just need to get to it. So that's on my TBR for 2023. The next few are also ones that are on my Kindle. I want to read The Lightning Thief by Percy Jackson. I have all 5 of the original Percy Jackson series books on my Kindle. I remember I got them really cheap and like a bind up on the Kindle, and I want to get to them. I know they're like children's books, or lots of people read them when they were younger, but I would like to experience them, and I know they're going to be quite quick reads. I also want to read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by, this pronunciation's not going to be great, Toshikazu Kawaguchi? I don't know. But anyway, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is kind of a collection of short stories based in a coffee shop, and I'm pretty sure you get to change something in your life or something, but you have to come back to reality when the coffee gets cold. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I've heard kind of mixed reviews about it, but I've got it on my Kindle and I would like to get to it at some point. I also would like to get to the Mindfuck series, so I've added to this list The Risk, which is the first one in the series, and I think I'm going to sign up for the 30-day free trial of Kindle Unlimited, and I'm going to read it when that, so I don't have to pay for it, which is sneaky, I know, but gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, and apparently it's basically about a serial killer, and then the guy is a detective looking for this serial killer or something, and he falls in love with her, but he doesn't know that she is the serial killer. Sounds interesting, and I've heard some really good things about it. I also this year want to get to Twisted Love by Huang, which is the first in the Twisted series, and I'd hopefully like to read all of the series this year. There's 4 books in total, but I just put the first one on this list just to make sure I do actually start it and get to it. And I would also like to read A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. So last year I read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I read all of those and the novella, and I have this one and I want to get to it. But again, I always put off reading books like this because they're so huge. But I know I'm going to love it, and I do get through Sarah J Maas's books really fast because they're just really addictive. But I don't like Nesta as a character, so I've been kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I have heard really good things, and I've heard that people start to maybe like her more after reading this, so we'll see. I will give it a go and see what I think, but I'm sure I'll love it. I've never not liked a book by Sarah J Maas before. So I also would like to get to 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, which is her newest release, which is like a murder mystery kind of book, thriller, and I love books like this. They're always so fast-paced, and I think this is over the space of 8 hours, so I like books that are like that because they seem really fast-paced and yeah, really gripping, so I'm excited to get to that as well. I'd also like to get to Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I also own Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, and I've not read any of them, so ideally I'd like to read them all this year over summer because I feel like they just have summery vibes, or at least the covers do. Well, Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation, they kind of sound summery, but anyway, I'd like to read these over summer, so I put this one on the TBR to make sure I at least get to one of her books this year. The next book is Scythe by Neil Shusterman, which I'm so excited to read this series. I've heard really good things about it, and I love things like this. It's like sounds really dark because it's basically about death and stuff, but yeah, that sounds awful when I say it like that. But it's basically where in the future or whatever, there is no way to die, like by natural causes. You can't die of old age or of illness. So there's a group of people called the Scythe, and they have to, like, people get randomly selected and they have to kill them to keep the population under control. It sounds really interesting, and I'm excited to get to it, and I've got the whole trilogy, so hopefully I'll just whiz through them all really quickly. And then the final book on my TBR for 2023 is From Luke Off With Love by Mariana Zapata, and I've not read any of her books, and I don't have this one on my Kindle. I was thinking I might get this physically because her books are apparently really thick and slow burn romance kind of books, and I feel like I'll get through it quicker in physical form. I don't know, I just feel like on Kindle I feel like it takes me sometimes longer to get through a book. I don't know, I feel like I'm more likely to pick it up when it's in physical book because I like the feel of an actual book. I don't know, I'm a bit weird like that. So I'm not sure, but if I saw it for like 99p on Kindle, I'll probably pick it up on Kindle anyway. So that is it. That is the 23 books that I want to read in 2023. So I'm excited about that. If you would like to see a flip through of my reading journal, I can make a video on that as well if you would like me to. I only started this in October last year, so it's not got too much in there really at the moment, but I love having this. I don't know, I just like seeing all the books that I've read kind of on a page, and I can just see what I thought of them, see all my ratings like written down in a book. I don't know, I like it. That's all the books that I want to read this year. Well, not all the books, but I'm taking part in the challenge of 23 books in 2023, ones that I want to get to this year. And in my book journal, when I've read one, which I have read, It Starts With Us, I'm going to just put a cross for it. So hopefully that will be crossed off by the end of the year. I'm going to try my best to get through all these. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know if any of these books are also on your TBR, or if any of these books are your favourite books. I will see you in the next video. Bye!